The following program, The Russ Belville Show, is intended for responsible adults only. We advocate to the repeal of marijuana prohibition for adults. We discuss the science, culture, and controversy about America's marijuana laws. We do not advocate any illegal activity and encourage all listeners to learn their state and federal marijuana laws. Opinions and claims made by guests and advertisers on The Russ Belville Show are their own, and The Russ Belville Show cannot be held legally responsible for their validity or reliability. Viewer discretion is advised.
You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it. You take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it, you roll it, you smoke it, and it goes down smooth. Hey!
Spanning the continent to bring you the truth about cannabis and marijuana law reform.
I smoke pot and I like it a lot.
From the promise of legalization.
And I think that we need to rethink and decriminalize our marijuana laws.
To the agony of prohibition.
One major responsibility is to encourage people to use less drugs.
The Russ Belville Show, the voice of the marijuana nation.
Yeah, I hear you had a question for me.
Now, here's your host, Radical Russ Belville.
We love it.
Good day, tokers and tokettes, and welcome to the show. It is Tuesday, April 29th, 2014, and it's got to be 420 somewhere in the world. So glad you could join us today. And boy, I got to tell you, it's going to be a fiery show today. Something about sitting on the side of the road in Utah waiting for handcuffs to be put on. Somehow, I've just ran out of fucks to give. So today, we are going to get deep and dirty into Washington medical marijuana politics. Once again, as soon as I bring facts, science, reason, and logic to the debate about why Washington's marijuana laws with respect to medical marijuana are so fucked up, once again, those people who fought legalization, those patient providers, those I got's mine crowd, the treat it like tomatoes crowd has reared their ugly heads to scream bloody murder and fling poo at me because I dared to suggest that maybe they have some culpability in why the situation is so fucked up. So we'll talk about that today in the radical rant entitled Quit Blaming Washington's FUBAR Medical Marijuana Laws on I-502 Legalization. And if any of you howler monkeys out there are listening, you like to call me names online like Rectal Russ or Radiated Russ, hey, I've got an entire hour, 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock Pacific time, where you can dial in at 971-533-7111 and use my platform to call me any name in the book you'd prefer. Hell, there's not even an FCC regulation on it. They can even be dirty names. But if you're just going to sit there and blog it to your tiny little choir, then you're a fucking coward. Get on the phone, 971-533-7111 in the next hour. Also, in our Behind the Headlines today, we're going to take a look at a case out of Illinois where a cop admits on video during testimony that he smears weed all over innocent people's cars in order to test the abilities of his drug dog. This is some shocking stuff, and there's a settlement involved. We'll tell you all about that right after the 420 radio news. And at half past the hour, we're going to give you some highlights from the High Times Cannabis Cup that took place in Denver, Colorado on 420, where they've got all sorts of fun things to show you that didn't happen to me. So enjoy those videos. We've got vendor interviews, selfie booth, and highlights from both days coming up on our web video screen. You can check that out at ustream.tv under Radical Russ, or just go to 420radio.org and watch the video from there. The fun begins right after this.
We'll be right back after these messages from our 420 friendly sponsors. Support these advertisers because their ad money goes straight to the Russ Belville Show. You're tuned into the Russ Belville Show, the voice of the marijuana nation.
Cast your eyes up to the skies. What is it to live and die? Calculated stars and lights.
The law offices of Omar Figueroa would like to remind you to stand up for your rights. Please do not give up your precious liberties. There's nothing wrong with standing up for our constitutional rights, and in fact, it's the best way to honor the Constitution that recognizes our natural rights. Treat law enforcement with respect and respect the Constitution by standing up for your rights. If you are detained or arrested, stand up for your rights by repeating, "I respectfully invoke all of my legal and constitutional rights. I do not consent to any search and seizure. I want to remain silent, and I want to speak with my attorney, Omar Figueroa." Omar Figueroa has more than a decade of experience in federal and California courts and graduated from Yale University, Stanford Law School, and Trial Lawyers College. Please contact the law offices of Omar Figueroa at 415-489-0420 or 707-829-0215 or on the web at omarfigueroa.com. 420 Radio is 24-hour marijuana legalization radio. Cannabis Outreach Collective is an alternative health and wellness option located in Gladstone, Oregon, that serves patients in the Portland area and beyond. We are a full-service alternative health and wellness collective accommodating patients with natural, organic, holistic, and homeopathic remedies, nutritional guidance, advice, education, and medical cannabis, fully in accordance with Oregon OMMP law. You can find out more about Cannabis Outreach Collective on Facebook at COC503 or by emailing cannabisoutreachcollective503@gmail.com or by telephone at 503-853-1319. Check out our menu on Weed Maps and visit Cannabis Outreach Collective today.
This is your 420 Radio News for Tuesday, April 29th, 2014. I'm Russ Belville. Retired Supreme Court Justice John Paul Stevens told NPR's Weekend Edition Saturday that marijuana should be legalized nationwide. The 94-year-old former justice is promoting his book, 6 Amendments, which calls on constitutional changes to election financing, firearms possession, and the death penalty. Stevens said, quote, "I really think that marijuana prohibition's another instance of public opinion has changed and recognized that the distinction between marijuana and alcoholic beverages is really not much of a distinction. The alcohol prohibition against selling and dispensing alcohol beverages has, I think, been there's a general consensus that it was not worth the cost. And I think really that in time, that will be the general consensus with respect to this particular drug." End quote. Stevens was on the bench when Judge Douglas Ginsburg's nomination to the Supreme Court was scuttled in 1987 due to his admitting to smoking pot in college at Harvard. Iowa is set to become the next state to legalize the use of cannabidiol oil for epileptic seizures. 5 states, Utah, Mississippi, Alabama, Wisconsin, and South Carolina, have legalized the non-psychoactive component of marijuana. Like most of these CBD-only states, the Iowa law would not allow patients to grow their own marijuana to harvest CBD oil or allow them to purchase CBD oil within the state. Patients are explicitly told they will need to acquire the CBD oil from out of state, presumably Colorado, where they'd be breaking state and federal law trafficking the substance. The House Public Safety Committee approved 3 new amendments that remove reciprocity for patients with an out-of-state medical marijuana recommendation, establish a 32-ounce limit for possession of CBD oil, and directs the University of Iowa to study CBD's effectiveness. The bill returns to the House floor for further debate. The Senate would need to also concur on the 3 new amendments for the bill to advance to the governor. Meanwhile, in Florida, the Senate has passed a bill to legalize CBD oil by a margin of 36-3. The bill would create a system of authorized dispensing organizations that could produce the oil so long as it contains less than 0.8% THC. Patients added by their doctor to a compassionate use registry would then be able to access the oil for treatment. The House version of the bill expands the conditions qualifying for CBD treatment to not just epilepsy, but also Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's, post-traumatic stress, and cancer. Florida will be voting in November on a more expansive medical marijuana constitutional amendment, and some believe that passage of this CBD-only law would hinder the full enactment of that amendment. Florida's Surgeon General has spoken out against the CBD bill, and Governor Rick Scott's office has not indicated his position on signing or vetoing it should it come to his desk. Minnesota's Senate Judiciary Committee panel today approved a bill that would legalize medical use of marijuana, sending the bill to a full committee. The bill would recognize the standard 8 conditions: cancer, AIDS, cachexia, glaucoma, seizures, spasms, pain, and nausea, as well as hepatitis C, Tourette syndrome, ALS, and post-traumatic stress. Patients could possess up to 2.5 ounces of marijuana and shop at a limited number of alternative treatment centers that could dispense marijuana. Patients could not grow their own marijuana, and any patient under age 18 would need recommendations from 2 doctors. Out-of-state patients would be protected as well, and no patient would face discrimination over housing, education, organ transplant, or child custody simply for being a patient. The target date for implementation of this legislation, should it be signed by the governor, who has always taken a veto position on medical marijuana, is July 1st, 2015. State regulators in Colorado are considering revisions to the law concerning medicated edibles in the wake of highly publicized stories of cannabis overdose. The Department of Revenue, charged with marijuana packaging regulations, says a task force, quote, in advance of a formal rulemaking process, end quote, will be reviewing the current laws, which consider 10 milligrams of THC to be a serving of marijuana edible, but allows up to 10 servings to be contained in a package. Recently, a college student leaped to his death after consuming an entire 65 milligram THC cookie, and a man on a 9/11 tape can be heard allegedly murdering his wife after eating a 100 milligram THC candy bar. Options under consideration include requiring easily distinguishable 10 milligram servings, such as a chocolate bar breakable into marked 10 milligram chunks, or limiting the packaging of any product to just 10 milligrams.
What's up, Doc?
Well, what's up is the end of the news, and thank you, Bugs. Reminder, this Saturday, the Global Cannabis March will be taking place in a city near you, over 300 cities across the world. I'll be at Pioneer Courthouse Square with Herb Thrasher and other Oregon marijuana activists marching for the right of all people, even healthy ones, to not be molested by police and law enforcement over their use of cannabis. This has been your 420 Radio News for Tuesday, April 29th, 2014. I'm Russ Belville. Transcripts of 420 Radio News are available at our website at 420radio.org. Log on today. When we come back, we'll go behind the headlines and take a look at a case in Illinois where a police officer admits to smearing marijuana on innocent people's cars to test his drug dog. You're listening to The Russ Belville Show on 420radio.org. We'll be right back.
When you are starting up a medical cannabis business, you don't just want any attorney. You want a fired-up lawyer who understands the needs of cannabis consumers. The law office of Lauren Vasquez is your fired-up lawyer for the cannabis industry. Lauren Vasquez knows the details of California marijuana law from both a personal and professional angle. Lauren Vasquez rose from the ranks of college normal activist to become one of the Bay Area's best marijuana lawyers. Visit her website, fireduplawyer.com, or call 1-855-MMJ-LAWS for more information. That's 855-665-5297 for Lauren Vasquez, your fired-up lawyer, or email fireduplawyer@gmail.com. The number again is 855-MMJ-LAWS, 855-665-5297 for your fired-up lawyer, Lauren Vasquez. Lauren Vasquez is an activist attorney you can trust. Call today.
You know Herb Thrasher from the Herb Thrasher Flower Hour. Now get ready for Herb Age Designs for the proud cannabis consumer. Herb Age Designs, lifestyle gear for the 420 friendly. Herb Age Designs, home of the famous lighter leash. Herb Age Designs. Get your Herb Age t-shirts and hoodies and show your pride. Herb Age Designs. We've got Frisbee golf discs and durable hemp gear. Herb Age Designs. We've got shot glasses, drinking glasses, coffee mugs, and beer cozies. Check us out on Facebook and online at herbagedesigns.com. And follow Herb Age and Herb Thrasher on Twitter. We'll see you at this year's Hemp Fest. Crank it up.
Welcome back, everyone. Time for us to go behind the headlines where a cop admits to smearing cars with weed to test drug dogs. Now, the use of these canine officers has long been a tool for law enforcement to bypass our Fourth Amendment rights and start rifling through our stuff along the side of the road at a traffic stop. But now we've got some damning testimony from an Illinois police officer showing just how far they're willing to abuse that power. A Collinsville, Illinois police officer named Michael Reichert was being questioned on video by defense attorneys in the case of a man named Terrence Huff. Huff is a documentary filmmaker who was returning from a Star Trek convention in St. Louis with a friend when Reichert pulled him over. Reichert claimed a canine alerted to the presence of drugs in his car. Huff and his friend were forced to sit on the side of the freeway while officers combed through his car only to find no measurable quantity of drugs. Huff was pulled over in what defense attorneys call a forfeiture corridor. These are sections of freeway throughout America that are targeted by cops who believe there is significant drug trafficking activity. Their aim is to profile the likely drug couriers and through civil asset forfeiture, seize the couriers' cash, property, and car to sell later at police auction for profit. Now, Huff wasn't thrilled about having his Fourth Amendment rights violated on the word of a dog, so he sued Reichert, and in Reichert's pretrial deposition, we get this bombshell of drug evidence misconduct, and you can get the video. I will have it posted up at radicalruss.com. Reichert explains how he and fellow Collinsville cops would take marijuana from the evidence locker and plant it or smear it on unsuspecting innocent people's vehicles. This is a quote from the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. Quote, "We'd go to a hotel or grocery store parking lots, throw drugs on U-Haul trucks, underneath big trucks and 18-wheelers and so forth." End quote, Reichert says, acknowledging that it was sometimes done without the vehicle owner's permission. And sometimes, he said, marijuana was wiped across a car door. He said the dogs can detect the smell, quote, "for a time," end quote. Now, it's bad enough that recent studies have shown that drug dogs are far from accurate instruments of science. They are man's best friend, eager to please their owner. In the journal Forensic Science International, researchers found that the best accuracy rate for a drug dog was for a room it had been familiarized with. In that case, 83% of the time the dog could accurately find marijuana versus 10% of the time it would false alert. That's right. If a cop brings a canine to your dorm room, your home, or your office, there's a 1 in 10 chance it would alert to drugs you don't have. But the canine gets far worse results in the real world traffic stop scenario. When run around the perimeter of a car to detect drugs, a canine is less than 2/3 accurate and will false alert 22% of the time. Yep, you could be traveling cross country with no drugs at all, and you've got a better than 1 in 5 chance that the dog will alert and leave you sitting on the roadside watching cops tear through all your stuff. Worse, if the canine is brought into the interior of your car, a false alert is better than a 1 in 3 probability. 36% of the time, drug dogs false alert when they're brought into the interior of a car. Now, in some jurisdictions, police find a measurable quantity of drugs in fewer than half of the drug searches they performed due to a drug dog alert. That's right, more than half the time. When the dog alerts on the side of the road, the cops don't find anything. Now, cops will often explain that, well, there must be residue from a previous transportation of drugs that set the dog off. But when it's not residue that some Collinsville cop smeared on the car door, it's often the dog just trying to please its master. There was a 2011 study at UC Davis, and researchers gathered 18 dog and handler teams. They were told to search 4 rooms in a church for the presence of drugs or explosives. They were also told that a red piece of construction paper taped to a cabinet meant that there were drugs or explosives in the room. However, there were no drugs or explosives in any of the rooms. Instead, researchers used sausages and tennis balls as lures for the dogs, something a dog would be interested in, but shouldn't be alerting for. In the first room, there were no lures and no red paper. In the second room, there were lures, but no red paper. In the third room, there was red paper, but no lures. And in the fourth room, there were both lures and red paper. Now, There shouldn't have been any alerts in any of the rooms, since none of them contain drugs or explosives, but unsurprisingly, researchers found the dogs alerted in all of the rooms. All of them. And alerted more often in the rooms with the red paper rather than the rooms with the sausages and tennis balls, indicating that the dogs alerted based on their master's anticipation of there being drugs or explosives in the room. A drug dog would rather please its handler than nibble on a free sausage. Now, this guy, Huff, who sued, did manage to get a $100,000 settlement out of the Collinsville Police Department, which turns out to be about 1/5 of the profits it makes from drug enforcement seizures in the span of a year.
Have you ever met that funny
drug dogs are unconstitutional, they're inaccurate, and they are unjust. They're unjust. They need to go. No more drug dogs.
I'm a reefer smoking man.
Wood Pipe Smoke Shop and Speakeasy is your source for cannabis community gear in southern Wisconsin. Owners Brian and Tammy Wood are located in Kendall, just outside of Madison, and they've got everything for the smoking enthusiast, including a full assortment of pipes, water pipes, hookahs, bubblers, one-hitters, and so much more. They're open noon to 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday and can help you with your detoxification therapies as well. Call 608-466-7473 or email woodpipes@yahoo.com for more information. That's 608-466-7473 or email woodpipes@yahoo.com. And as always, go pack go.
Support the Russ Belville Show. Text the word Russ to 420-420 and connect with the National Cannabis Coalition. You can also send $10 to the Russ Belville Show right from your smartphone. That's Russ to 420-420. You're listening to Radical Russ on the Russ Belville Show.
Well, I'll say little red carpet, darling, your mud's too fierce. Little red carpet, you need a lover that's gonna lay.
Fun. Big Daddy Thinks.
Funky,
oh yeah.
Everyone knows music and marijuana go together, so let's wind up our 20 after break with the Russ Belville Show's Daily Toker Tunes, the best in pod-safe 420 music from around the web. Today is Electric Tuesday, featuring the latest in electronic dance music and other cutting-edge genres. Now, sit back and enjoy your Daily Toker Tune.
Welcome back, everybody. Just about 24 after the hour, and just thinking back to the old days, back in the day, back when I was in high school. If there was one thing I learned, is that it takes two to make a thing go right. And for those two, we got myself, and Electric Bob is on the line. Electric Bob, how you doing?
And it takes two to make it out of sight.
You're right. It absolutely does.
Yeah, I'm doing great. I would ask you how you were doing, but I already know.
I'm doing great. I'm free for now.
I know.
So what's happening here? We got some great music today from, if you didn't get the illusion, from Rob Bass and DJ Easy Rock. What can you tell us about today's track?
Unfortunately, DJ Easy Rock passed away this weekend.
Oh no!
Yeah, he was only 46. It really sucks.
Jeez, I'm 46, dude.
Yeah. Oh, well, don't die on us, Russ.
I'll try not to. Any word on what the reason was?
I don't know what happened. I'm guessing it was health related because he was a bigger guy.
Yeah.
But there's no word on what the cause of death was yet.
Okay.
But yeah, I was woke up and he was trending on Facebook, and I'm like, what's going on with them? Is there a new album coming out? And then they're like, nope, he's dead.
Oh, that's a shame. What's been happening with
really
Rob Bass as of late? Do you know?
What was that?
With Rob Bass, what's he up to lately?
I think he's still doing stuff. I don't know what they've done recently, but I think DJ Easy Rock, he was just doing his own thing DJing, and Rob Bass was just doing his thing, making beats and whatnot.
Right on. Hey, quick announcement too before I forget. We've moved Electric Bob's Boogaloo. In addition to the replay slots you've already got, you've been moved into the Thrasher Sports replay lineup, so you'll be on tonight at 8 p.m. Pacific.
Oh, awesome. And I'm going to have a new Boogaloo tomorrow night, guys. It's going to be an awesome house mix.
Oh,
going to have some old school house and stuff like that. And this song, actually, I don't know if you've listened to it, but it has like a disco feel and like an early rave feel. It's a good song. It has a really good groove on it.
All right. Well, let's get into it. Rob Bass.
Yo, Pop, yo, Dave, man. I don't think Rob gonna do it on this one, man.
Word up, Kurt.
Word up, Kurt. Yo, man. Yo, I'm Rob Bass, man. Get this. Baseline. Now let's dance. Now, here we go. Don't quit. Coming from Rob is a new hit. A record that I created for those of you who waited in the disco, chillin', wait for Rob to get illin'. It's that time again. So friend, let the record spin. And I wanna move you. Let the beats just groove you. Clap your hands, don't front, cause this is what you want. Get on the dance floor. Puerto Rican, black, white, Chinese. Come on, let's rock in peace. Get on the floor, get loose. Rock with the man with juice. Okay, just play the records that I say. Get crazy, stomp your feet, move to the funky beat of Raw and Easy with the help of the man behind me. This part I like when the crowd get hyped. Come on, here we go. As I rock the show, get on the dance floor. Don't diss me, hit me, it only get me up tight, then I go get the posse. I'm like a star in the sky, I'm shining. Like a scientist, I'm finding a new chemical to get rid of you. It's not medicine, magic, or voodoo, cause I'm rhyming, designing, timing. How long it's gonna take to be climbing to the top, make sure that I won't drop, cause I came to rock the spot, get on the dance floor. Don't stop it. With a beat like this, you can't top it. Cause I made it to be hot. And soon it's gonna be on the top. The time is now, not later. Listen to the things I create. I'm not bugging, and you know it. Do it now, or you'll blow it. This is what I want you to do. Move! Get on the dance floor.
Support the Russ Belville Show. Text the word Russ to 420-420 and connect with the National Cannabis Coalition. You can also send $10 to the Russ Belville Show right from your smartphone. That's Russ to 420-420. You're listening to Radical Russ on the Russ Belville Show.
Weed Porn Daily with Oscar Diaz from Florida every Tuesday morning at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, and 7 p.m. GMT right here on 420radio.org.
Hey, this is Willie Nelson for NORML. And if you're one of the 26 million Americans who smoked marijuana last year, you need to get involved in the drive to legalize marijuana. We need your help to stop the senseless arrest of more than 800,000 Americans each year on marijuana charges. Together, we can end marijuana prohibition and stop the arrests of marijuana smokers. To learn what you can do to help, contact NORML at NORML.org or call toll-free 888-67-NORML.
Let's get the session started because it's 420.
Since 1974, High Times Magazine has been the chronicle of the fight for cannabis freedom. Each month we take a look at the latest interviews, news, grow tips, equipment, music, and events featured in this month's issue with our High Times preview.
Of course, everyone from High Times still busy getting torn down and packed up and returned from the Cannabis Cup that took place in Denver, but they put together some amazing video retrospective highlights. We're going to take a look at those. You can also see the picture there of the 420 radio booth that was in effect there for the event. So we'll turn it over to the video window. This is from High Times.
Up in the morning, gotta thank God. I don't know, but today seems kinda odd. No barking from the dog.
We'll get those videos up here in a second, having some technical difficulties. One moment.
McGruff here. I want you to learn a song that tells people to say no to drugs. Users are losers and losers are users. So don't use drugs. Don't use drugs. Winners don't use and users don't win. So don't use drugs. Don't use drugs. If you know a user even part of the time, tell them to quit, take a bite out of crime. Users are losers and losers are users. So don't use drugs. Don't use drugs. Okay, everybody. If you know a user even part of the time, tell them to quit, take a bite out of crime. Users are losers and losers are users. So don't use drugs. Don't use drugs. Nice going. Now teach it to your mom and dad and brothers and sisters and friends to help take a bite out of crime. Don't use drugs.
Marijuana and alcohol are the two most popular recreational drugs in America. Marijuana smoking is non-toxic, relatively safe, and has a low risk of dependence. Alcohol drinking is potentially fatal, dangerous to society, and is quite addictive. Marijuana is safer, so why are we driving people to drink? That's the question of the new book, Marijuana is Safer, So Why Are We Driving People to Drink? By Paul Armentano, Mason Tvert, and Steve Fox. Visit Amazon.com or ChelseaGreen.com today to order your copy of Marijuana is Safer, or visit Marijuana.
Here we go with the Saturday highlights from the Cannabis Cup. The line stretching block after block after block. People trying to get into the Denver Mart, where there was both an indoor area with 100 or so vendors where we were focused, and an outdoor area with at least 500 vendors. I saw reports of 650 vendors total, and I would easily believe it. Some of the aerial shots, and these booths, folks, are getting pretty amazing. Some 2-story and even 3-story setups outside in the so-called medicating area. I guess it's just the recreational area now. People of all ages, so many vendors. Anticipated 40,000 tickets were sold.
And everything is all right. I got a beat from Kim, and she can fuck all night.
We had planes circling the area with advertising banners, and so many people enjoying all of the cannabis. That Saturday, the 19th, we actually had a major downpour that happened right at 420. Everybody trying to crowd their way back into the indoor area to stay dry. There were panels. There was a big panel exhibition in what was called the pavilion area, where there were many presentations on growing and the law and so forth. One definite highlight of the Cup for me was all of the edibles that were available this time. So many people there with, the magical butter people were there, and other vendors providing edibles. Ice Cube and Action Bronson performed a concert on Friday night. So many luminaries were there. Ice Cube showed up. We saw Henry Rollins at the event. Tommy Chong was there. It was a good day. April 19th at the Cannabis Cup, the Saturday event.
Give me the light, give me the light, give me the light, y'all. Give me the light, give me the light, give me the light, y'all. Give me the light, give me the light.
Another feature at the Cannabis Cup this year was a selfie machine where people could take their own pictures at the Cannabis Cup. These are available at hightimes.com if you want to see if your selfie made it up there. Also on the High Times Presents channel on YouTube. Our friend Bobby Black was able to catch up with Henry Rollins at the High Times Cup. Here's his interview.
Bobby Black here with a legend of rock and roll, the poet and pioneer of punk, Mr. Henry Rollins. So what brings you to the Cannabis Cup on this fine 420?
I do not smoke marijuana. However, I'm all for the legalization and decriminalization of marijuana. I think we need to evolve on this issue now. And so I am here with my sturdy camera crew interviewing people about marijuana. We're going to get the best of it and put it into a TV show we're making about the history of America and marijuana. And that's why I'm here today. But also, I'm here to be around a lot of other co-celebrants where I might not be partaking. I'm with them with the other 99% of it. Because to me, smoking weed doesn't matter to me. It's the legalization and decriminalization, like I said. That's the important part. And so I'm here in solidarity. I'm here in the spirit of fun. I've met nothing but really friendly, nice people. And that's why.
Because pot smokers are not really a threat to society. And like you say, it's more of a civil rights issue, I think, than anything, a libertarian issue.
I'd never get in the way of anyone having a drink or selling alcohol. So if we're going to be that gung-ho Americana on tobacco and alcohol, which we are, I mean, that's why I stand for it, while have zero interest in smoking it. But what if I one day got some medical malady that visited me, that where a cannabis product could help me? I don't want any difficulty getting to that. And what's more, I don't want you having any difficulty, or anybody here getting a chance to get better. And that's why I'm here, and that's why I hope this Cannabis Cup thing goes on and on and on and on. And as far as, I like High Times, in that you guys have interviewed me over the years. It's always cool. And I like being a mouthpiece for this, because the irony is great. I don't like alcohol. I would never make it illegal. Prohibition, bad idea.
Yeah.
but never has a guy on weed wanted to beat me up. But if I had $1 for every drunk who got in my face, I'd be a wealthy man.
Henry Rollins explaining what it's really about here, freedom. Now some vendor interviews with Bobby Black.
What's up, guys? Bobby Black here at the epic, the historic 420 weekend U.S. Cannabis Cup here in Denver. We have hundreds and hundreds of vendors. We have tens of thousands of people, nearly 40,000 people from all over the country, hell, all over the world, here to celebrate 420 with us here in the cannabis capital of America, Denver, Colorado. I'm here with Aaron from Buds and Roses. What's going on, man?
Oh man, I'm just having a great time interacting with the crowd, having fun with everybody. This is amazing. I love it. It is bigger and better than ever, and it keeps happening every single Cannabis Cup. I love it, man. I love it.
420, legal, what? I don't know. There's nothing else to say, man.
For those of you that don't know, 420 Science is one of the premier stoner accessory companies. They started out doing stash jars, and now they have a huge array of products. Tell us a little about some of the other products you have.
Man, we've been picking up a lot of glass from our favorite artists, a lot of Grav Labs stuff. We were just at the big show. We're just coming out with new stuff all the time. I love it. This industry's blowing up.
How's it going, Ross?
I'm good. How are you? How could things be bad on a day like today?
I don't know. The weather's been kind to us.
It's been an amazing day. Unbelievable. The turnout, the people, everybody's been so friendly. It's been unbelievable for vendors. Incredible.
You guys just recently started making special stash bags for us. How did that come about?
I realized that people really need a good storage solution, especially when it comes to cannabis. There are so many unique needs between moisture and oxygen and smell. So I started to really focus on the quality of the bags, and I knew that there was something that you guys needed that would really fit that need.
It's looking crazy out here right now. It's so amazing.
Have you ever seen anything like this capture stoner culture in such an amazing way?
No, I mean, this definitely, like, this cup is for sure, like, the end-all, be-all of events. You know, brings the most people out, definitely brings out the headiest stuff, for sure.
Cool, man. Well, you are known for your incredible artistry on hand torches. Show us a little, some of your work.
Well, this is a little bit of the new shatter tech stuff that we're pulling out. We're trying to make it look like actual shatter and stuff on the torches or whatever, give that illusion. We're also still repping our 710 real hard, you know, loving our oil.
Are you going to do a dab for us, or is that why you're holding that?
Yeah, definitely. We'll whip out some a big chunk here real quick.
Dude, I don't know how you do it. Lungs of iron.
Yo, and the funny thing is, this is the part that you can't see on Instagram. I don't cough.
I love spending Saturday and Sunday with 30,000 close new friends here at High Times Cannabis Cup in Denver.
Pretty epic, isn't it?
You know, this is my second year. I did it last year. I'm doing it again. This is my second anniversary. I did 115,000 miles driving across the country, letting the king of quality be my guide. And now I give half grams of weed away. I get to share legally with people from all across the country, and I have friends packing pipes. We're going to get high with as many of these guests that you've invited here to downtown Denver.
What's this 420 been like for you guys?
It's been awesome. It's been really good. People coming from all over the country. It's been badass.
So tell us a little about, you guys make some awesome t-shirts, stoner t-shirt designs. Tell us about some of your newest, coolest designs.
Okay, well this one right here is our newest one, Taking Dabs. Then we have Icky Mouse right here. We're based out of Texas. We do all of our own screen printing in-house. And yeah, man, trying to do it big.
Mad Hatter is a wonderful organic product that we're introducing right now to the Cannabis Cup and to the industry. I come from 20 years of growing in the greenhouse industry in horticulture and botany. My husband and I have been using these products for years and now have formulated them to be specific to this crop.
Great vendor interviews with Bobby Black there at High Times. So many vendors to choose from. We've also got a highlight reel here from Sunday, the actual 420, also Easter Sunday for those who celebrate it. So many great people to meet, so many great booths to see. I encourage anyone who gets a chance to go to a Cannabis Cup, and there will be 5 every year in the United States at least. Next one coming up in June in Richmond, California. July in Flint, Michigan. and September in Seattle, Washington. And then, of course, the granddaddy of them all, the High Times Cannabis Cup out there in Amsterdam, will be going into its 27th year. That'll happen in November around Thanksgiving time, so save your money.
Now I got these rappers all breaking up a sweat. Cause every time I get up on the mic, I come correct. And I learned it from the best. Always dressing something.
You can definitely see the influence of dab culture, 710 culture taking root at the Cannabis Cup. There's still plenty of great flower to be had there as well. There is some concern from some among the community about the dabbing and worries about people, and everybody has taken that to heart, it seems, and put up lots of signs about, sit down when you're taking a dab. Don't get up really quickly. Moderate it. Don't take on too much. This is very concentrated. That's something we encourage throughout the community, is better education for our consumers. We don't want new people to the cannabis movement, now that it's legal, trying it for their first time, to then have a negative experience. So make sure you educate the people you're around. Tommy Chong was very popular there at the event. Got to talk to lots of folks who had their first chance to meet the icon of our 420 counterculture. For many people I met from Illinois and Oklahoma and Texas and Arkansas, people had come across the country to experience this cannabis freedom in Denver, Colorado. It was an opportunity for them to see the breadth of the cannabis community, and I'm sure it's an experience they'll never forget. The night concluded with Mac Miller and Slightly Stupid delivering a fantastic show to everyone in attendance who had enjoyed the constitutional freedom that Colorado affords them. We can do this everywhere, people. We can do this in your state. Get involved. Join NORML. Join SSDP. Join Law Enforcement Against Prohibition. Look up Marijuana Policy Project. Look up Drug Policy Alliance. So many allies out there, and there's somewhere where you'll fit in. Get involved. Thanks to hightimes.com for their presentation of those highlights from the Cannabis Cup. We'll be right back.
The Russ Belville Show reminds you to never smoke and drive impaired. Hang out for a while and share.
Cause the day was hard and your work was long and you need a break from all that's wrong. You better look at the clock cause it's 4:19. Time to reach in that pocket for your bag of green and smoke that weed.
You're tuned into the Russ Belville Show.
420 Radio, the activist radio station.
The Russ Belville Show is blogging and podcasting daily at radicalruss.com.
You want answers?
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
You want answers?
You have offended my family.
I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth.
And you have offended a Shaolin temple.
You can't handle the truth.
Surely you can't be serious. I am serious. And don't call me Shirley.
Radical rant. Quit blaming I-502 for fucked up Washington medical marijuana. Once again, my latest rant on the state of Washington medical marijuana has brought out the chorus of howler monkeys flinging their poo and screeching about how awful I am. After paragraph upon paragraph littered with ad hominem gems like rectal Russ and radiated Russ, throw in a couple of look at this asshole childishly captioned photos of me, and of course, a Godwin's Law confirming allusion to Hitler. Their eventual point comes down to how Washington state medical marijuana was a utopia of caring and sharing until the shady legalizers and their greedy state accomplices came along with I-502 and ruined everything for medical marijuana. Well, I don't know about you, but I have had it with being bullied by the medical marijuana crowd. I still support everyone's right to use marijuana, and I have genuine sympathy and empathy for sick and disabled people facing marijuana prohibition. But I am tired of patients and their advocates using their disability as a cudgel to beat back the rest of us who also suffer under prohibition because we're just getting high. As if we deserve police attention and loss of liberty because our choice of cannabis use isn't as desperate a measure as theirs. They remind me of the people who'd sympathize more with the modestly dressed rape victim more than the rape victim who was drinking and wearing a sexy outfit. Well, if you didn't want to be raped, you shouldn't have worn a miniskirt. If you didn't want to be arrested, you should have gotten a medical card. Sorry, I'm not going to be bullied by patients anymore. My right to use cannabis is just as legitimate as theirs, and police abrogation of those rights is just as heinous for me as thee. Fellas, and it's almost exclusively fellas, there are some fine Washington marijuana advocates out there like Carrie Boyder and others who actually seem to operate in political reality. Quit trying to blame the massive clusterfuck of bullshit interpretations, loophole surfing, and wink, wink, nudge, nudge, state of Washington medical marijuana on the people who succeeded in legalizing for those of us without a tear-jerking sob story we can use as an affirmative defense after getting arrested. Recreational marijuana is not to blame for 16 years of unregulated medical marijuana. Political naivete, utopian navel-gazing, inflated sense of importance, and failure to craft reasonable regulations for medical marijuana for 16 years are to blame. 16 years of people fucking around in off-year and off-year election cycles, blowing hot air of, well, we'll just repeal all marijuana laws and trust the legislature to write the regulations. You know, the same legislature they all hate now, right? Pretending they can get enough signatures with hippy-dippy-yippy volunteer efforts and no significant funding and zero political support. Maybe if they weren't all a bunch of tilters, you know, the treat it like tomatoes believers, Washington could have gotten a better legalization on the ballot in prior years and maybe even passed it. Instead of leaving a leadership vacuum to be filled by a drinker from the ACLU and a California consultant who has never believed state legalization can work. 16 years of opposing even the most modest of regulations, like a voluntary patient registry. Not mandatory like most states, not like Oregon where you're forced to sign up for it. A voluntary patient registry. A registry that would have actually finally provided patients protection from arrest if they chose to register. But that was something the Washington medical marijuana leaders decried as akin to a sex offender registry. A registry that, if it existed now, not only would have protected patients from arrest, but would also have kept the 10-patient collective gardens legal. 16 years of playing wink, wink, nudge, nudge also has its effects on the politics of the matter, too. Washington clearly never legalized dispensaries, so folks started gaming the system, cheating the one patient at one time laws that were clearly intended to be like a caregiver, you know, a personal relationship where one adult legitimately cares for the health of another who's too sick to do it for themselves. Well, when that bullshit tactic was called out, Senator Jean Cole Wells tries to get 5073 passed to actually regulate dispensaries and create a registry. So who was out there castigating Senator Cole Wells, one of your best allies in medical marijuana in the legislature, calling for her resignation, saying she wants patients registered like sex offenders, and these dispensaries will destroy medical marijuana? Who was that? The same greedy, idiot medical marijuana profiteering bastards who opposed I-502. Now, if your argument is that we should never have passed I-502 because it would destroy Washington's medical marijuana, you have to assume that Washington's medical marijuana wasn't already in the process of falling apart on its own accord. How long do you think those U.S. attorneys would have waited before raiding Bob's collective storefront garden emporium if I-502 lost? Do you think any of Washington's medical marijuana leaders would have then gotten in line to help create a sensibly regulated medical marijuana system to be in place? You know, thinking forward to the year, maybe 2016, when there'd be some legalization to integrate with? Horse feathers, my grandpa would say. In the 16 years of medical marijuana, about 80,000 healthy marijuana consumers did at least one day in jail and earned a criminal record in Washington state because they had no sob story. In 2012, there were 5,531 prosecutions for 40 grams or less of marijuana in Washington. In 2013, that number fell to 120. Now, it's also telling to me that Oregon had a somewhat similar path, but far better results. Now, we had no dispensaries either, and soon enough emerged a wink-wink, nudge-nudge dispensary system. But instead of fighting every effort to rein it in, we twice fought to successfully put initiatives on the ballot to regulate it. Now, we lost them both. We were defeated. But at least we showed the public and lawmakers that we were interested in legitimacy, not loopholes. Thus, we get our legislature crafting a decent dispensary law, and we're well poised to integrate that with legalization that will pass in 2014. A legalization, by the way, put together by tokers, not drinkers, people in marijuana reform, not the ACLU, who have proven year after year that they listen to political realities and understand that unlike tomatoes, weed can get you high. It's also telling to me that Colorado consistently crafted the most expansive regulations in medical marijuana, and now their recreational marijuana is rolling out just fine, and their medical marijuana patients aren't complaining about it so blatantly loudly, because their system's still humming along too. And as for I-502 destroying Washington medical marijuana, let's keep in mind that, 1, Washington patients caught in public possessing an ounce or less are now guaranteed to be free from arrest, thanks to I-502. Medical marijuana didn't protect them from arrest. Washington patients who are driving around with more than an ounce are no longer threatened by the alert of a drug dog, thanks to I-502. Washington patients are still allowed to possess more than an ounce of marijuana, up to 1.5 pounds, I believe, the greatest amount allowed in the country, something that's a felony for healthy people. Washington patients are still allowed to grow their own marijuana at home, which I believe is still 15 mature plants, among the greatest limits in the country, something that is a felony for healthy people to do. And Washington patients will finally have a legitimate legal place to shop for marijuana, thanks to I-502. Now, yeah, it'll be taxed more and more expensive than a wink-wink, nudge-nudge designated provider or collective garden. Just like a TV costs more at Best Buy than from a guy in the alley who got it when it fell off a truck. Gosh, if only there were a voluntary patient registry that would have kept those collective gardens legal. I feel for actual legitimate medical marijuana patients as much as anyone. That's why I'm so shocked they would continue to follow leaders that continually get them fucked over in every way possible. Leaders who made hyperbolic predictions like 10,000 marijuana DUIDs and shooting hippie fish in a barrel as they leave HempFest with the new I-502 DUID law. And unless you bought that ounce at a state licensed store, you'd still get busted. When in fact, DUIDs are down in Washington state after I-502. There were fewer DUI arrests outside of HempFest after I-502. Hundreds who were tested were below the legal limit and could argue that in court, and nobody possessing an ounce or less, store-bought or not, has been arrested. But then again, who wants to argue with their dealer and possibly mess up their supply? Hey folks, that's all the time I got for Hour 1, but Hour 2 is ready and the phone lines are open at 971-533-7111. If you got the stones, give me a call.
This is the Russ Belville Show. The Russ Belville Show is blogging and podcasting daily at radicalruss.com.
Take a seed, you plant it, you grow it, you dry it,